Hey, what's up YouTube? Interiors here. Hope you're doing well. My last video was over 20 minutes long, so I am going to try and keep this one as short and concise as possible, going for under 5 minutes. But if you haven't seen that one and you're starting your first band, or if you're a newer musician or a newer solo artist or a newer producer or anything like that, there's some good info in there for you about kind of getting started with releasing music for the first time. So there's a link to that in the description and at the top of the screen. Also, quick reminder to follow me on Instagram right here and pick up some merch from my merch store. There's links to both of those down in the description as well. And of course, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like the video if you like the video. Quick side note, my roommates are listening to music like kind of loud downstairs, so I'm not sure if that's audible, but if you guys can hear that, welcome to life in my bedroom. Something popping. They're like having a party down there. Anyway, so I decided to start a little series of videos here on my channel where I kind of give songwriting pointers based on the methods that I use and kind of the approach I take to writing music when I'm writing songs. Each video in the series is going to cover a different general concept, and each video will kind of explain the concept and then show you how I apply it in at least one or two examples from my own discography. For future episodes of this, I already have several concepts, like more than 5 different videos planned out that I plan to make for this series. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to be posting on there and letting people kind of vote on which videos get made first. So if you're interested in kind of being a part of that, if you like today's video, again, make sure you follow me on Instagram. I can't point right there. So for today's video, I want to talk about making songs or sections of songs sound rhythmically complex without employing any super crazy / weird time signatures. In prog music and gent music, you're always hearing people talking about time signatures. Obviously the musicians that are writing the music will talk about it, but at this point, like even fans, like even people who just listen to bands and don't even necessarily play music a lot of times or have an understanding of music theory, you'll hear them, like you'll hear people at a Periphery show or a Keonashi show in Philly, you'll hear people talking about time signatures in the crowd. And it's like, honestly, I think it's really cool that music theory terminology has kind of like penetrated its way into the, kind of prog music scene community and the people who like that kind of music. However, I do think the terminology has started to become so widely applied that a lot of times people will hear something that sounds, again, rhythmically complex, as I say, or maybe odd meter, like it just doesn't sound like it's something you would necessarily bob your head to at a club. People will hear that kind of thing and just jump to, oh, that's in a crazy time signature. And a lot of times it's not. And today I kind of want to talk about how I go about achieving that kind of thing in my own music. Throughout my whole discography, I don't think I've ever really used anything that I would consider to be a super complex time signature. Now in this video, I am going to be referring to a couple of time signatures, so I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. When I talk about a measure of 4, I'm talking about a measure where each bar has 4 beats in it and it's counted as such. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, etc., etc. Here's an example of a part of one of my songs that has measures of 4. Okay, and when I say a measure of 3, I am referring to measures where there's 3 beats in each bar, and those would be counted as such. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's an example of the section from the ending of my new song, Focus, which is in 3. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that everyone understands what I'm saying. And as I'm going through the example that I'm going to show and the music is playing, I'm going to have numbers up on the screen counting along, and there's going to be a click going along as well, so it'll be very easy to follow along with what I'm talking about. I usually achieve the kind of like off rhythm type sound by not so much looking at each individual measure, but by looking at groupings of measures and kind of what I call phrases. Or I guess what lots of people probably call phrases. Something that I do a lot, and now that I'm giving away my secret, cat's out of the bag, you can go on a treasure hunt and find all the parts of my songs where I do this. So what I do when I look at these phrases, for example, let's say I have a section of 4 measures. So if you had a section of 4 measures and each measure has 4 beats, it's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I do is I look at that phrase and I find places in that phrase where I can add and or subtract beats. And what I mean when I say that is I take one measure and I either remove one beat from it or I add an extra beat to it. So for example, if I have those same 4 measures, except this time the second to last measure is reduced to 3 rather than 4, it would be counted like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's just that one beat missing, but then in the greater context of a song, when there's music playing along to that rhythm, it does its thing. This one beat difference will make the whole phrase kind of flow differently, especially when it starts to repeat. I know that I said earlier I'm not using any weird time signatures, and in that last example I did say I would add potentially a beat to a measure, which would have made it 5. 5 definitely counts as an odd meter. However, what I'm more talking about here is, like, I think a lot of people, when they think of prog, they just imagine like endless measures of 13/4 or something like that, which is not the case a lot of the time, and that's kind of what I'm trying to debunk here. So I'm going to use a section of my song Clarity to demonstrate this, and it works perfectly because it's the same measures situation that I was just talking about. The 4 measures where the second to last measure is reduced to 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So really quick, here is the section I'm talking about. Okay, so first I'm just going to play the section on guitar to a click track without anything behind it, and it's going to be much slower than the actual track, so you can really kind of focus in and feel it. And again, it's going to count along on screen as it goes. Alright, so that shows how I play the riff and how I actually count it out in my head as I'm playing it. And what I'm kind of realizing too is I think with these like one beat changes to an overall phrase, I think the real effect is that when the phrase repeats, people don't feel where it's going to repeat, or they don't see it coming as much, so it's almost like a fake out. So now I'm going to play the riff along to the actual song, again counted on the screen. So I felt like that riff from Clarity would be a really good way to kind of illustrate the concept I'm talking about today. It's also just a super fun riff. I love playing that riff. Now, to give you an example of somewhere where I added a beat on the end of the measure in my song Focus from the new album Conduit Vista, here's a part of the song where I did that. See, just a little fake out. All right, well, that's all I really have for today. Again, I didn't want it to be too long. I want this series to kind of be a little bit more of shorter, more concise videos to just kind of get a real simple point across, but I want to still be able to convey some helpful info in that time frame. So everyone, please let me know if this was helpful, if this was something that you're actually going to try to use in your own songwriting. I find this to be a really, really simple, basic way to kind of start incorporating some more odd rhythm sounding type things or whatever in your music. Yeah, so thank you for watching today. That is all I've got. If you like the video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, all that jazz, and subscribe to me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at interiors_music. It's right here, and I'll see you next time.